What's up, everybody? My rebooking WrestleMania countdown will continue next week. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback on those, so I'm glad people are enjoying them. Although I think I'm going to step on some toes when I get into the top 10, but we'll get there when we get there. But the road to WrestleMania will officially begin tomorrow night with the Royal Rumble. And I did want to talk about the pay-per-view and the Royal Rumble concept in general and them upping it to 40 participants and all that jazz. Personally, the Royal Rumble in of itself, I think is great. I love the Royal Rumble. It's one of the best concepts in wrestling for various reasons. And one of the reasons that I love it so much is that it is probably the most sports-like thing that the WWE does. What I mean by that, and I'm taking this from SmackDown, they did this big highlight package video where they listed all these records and statistics for the Royal Rumble, and I just love that about the Royal Rumble, because I've often talked about how I feel like wrestling needs to be more sport-like and presented in a way that where it's more believable as a sport, and it bugs me that statistics, win-loss records, and things of that nature aren't referenced enough. The Royal Rumble seems to be the exception, excuse me, where they keep track of how many eliminations you have. They keep track of how long you're in there. They keep track of how many you've won, how many Rumbles you've been in, things like that. And I just love that because it makes it feel like there's tangible information to talk about when talking about the Royal Rumble. And there are ways to compare certain wrestlers to others based on their Rumble performance and based on what they did in Royal Rumbles. And I just love that. The fact that you have numbers to make all these descriptions and everything, I just think is fascinating. And I wish more aspects of wrestling were more like this. And when people tell me that I'm crazy and that, oh, wrestling fans can't follow statistics and it would just make things too complicated and blah, 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 I often use the Royal Rumble as like, well, what's up with this? How many... go onto wrestling message boards and see how many people keep track of eliminations, time, and all those other things that make up the Royal Rumble. Just look at how many people keep track of those records. And WWE even references it, which they never reference things like that. And it's just awesome. It's fascinating. And I wish WWE would do more things like that. I think the Royal Rumble, Undertaker's WrestleMania streak, Goldberg's streak, and other things like that are just fascinating examples of how statistics can work in wrestling, and I wish there'd be more of that. The NFL, again, going back to a real sport, when they want to make a point, they will list a statistic. I was watching the Jets-Steelers game, which, feel bad for the Jets there. They almost pulled it off at the end. They almost, I give them credit for almost digging themselves out of the hole, but, too little too late, I guess. But, when they were coming back in the fourth quarter and they were really making a game out of it, NFL immediately listed something like, okay, or it might have been at the start of the half when they were already down 24-0. I don't remember what, or 24-3 or whatever it was. But they listed, okay, biggest playoff comeback in the AFC or something like that was 18 points down or something. They immediately listed that statistic. And that just makes the story of the game more interesting to see if the Jets could overcome that and beat that record. And it just that kind of tangible information makes things more interesting to me. And like I said, I wish wrestling would be more like that. And the Royal Rumble is a shining example of how that kind of stuff can work and just how interesting the Royal Rumble really is. And speaking of the playoffs, I also love the Royal Rumble because it is sort of like the playoffs to WrestleMania. If WrestleMania is the Super Bowl, the Royal Rumble is the setup for that. It is the playoffs, all crammed into one match. And I just love that. It's, you look at the match and you see, okay, how are they going to map out WrestleMania based on who wins this and who's the champion and stuff like that. And again, it's just another reason that I find the Royal Rumble so fascinating. Now, getting to this year's show, they've upped it to 40 participants, which... Let's talk about why they did that in the first place. Why did the WWE up it from 30 to 40 participants? I think, and this is probably me being cynical, there are so many guys on the roster that they have absolutely no plan for. Like guys in Nexus and the Core, which, if I made fun of TNA for spelling Fortune wrong, I'm going to make fun of WWE for spelling Core wrong. There are not two R's in Core, okay? And I know they want to trademark the damn thing, but Core's not even a good name anyway. And so you're taking a stupid name and you're making it even dumber by spelling it wrong. Just saying. But so many of those guys are interchangeable. I mean, really, are any of the original members still in Nexus? I don't even know, because they're all mostly the same. They're a bunch of underdeveloped characters. And Ezekiel Jackson's in the Core, and I argue you could put Skip Sheffield in that same spot, and it wouldn't make a difference, because they're the same guy, a big, muscly black guy. And there's no difference between them. Or just a big, muscly guy in general. Like, you could put, I don't know, Tyson Tomko in that spot. It wouldn't make a difference. And there's a lot of that in between those two groups. And there's so many guys in the WWE roster that just have no direction. You have Daniel Bryan, who's the United States champion, and he has no rival. His only direction now is chasing girls, which I'm not sure who thinks that makes for compelling television, but whatever. So there are just a bunch of undercard, mid-card guys that have no creative direction, have no feud going on. So they kind of took the same approach that they do with Money in the Bank. It's like, let's just throw 2 more guys in there. Except in this case, they're like, we'll just throw 10 more guys in there. It'll be something to sell it on. Will the match be good? I think so. I think you have a chance to create a fun match regardless of, adding 10 guys in there. Some people think that'll make the match too long. I don't know what the time is between entries. I don't know if it's 2 minutes or if it's a minute and a half. I haven't heard. But whatever the case is, I think the match will be good, and I think it'll be fun and exciting. I don't necessarily have a problem with them upping it to 40. It's just, I'm just cynical about why they did it. It's like, you didn't put any thought into it. You just thought, let's just do it. It'll be another thing to sell. But I gotta be honest, besides that, and this doesn't really have anything to do with it being 40 guys in the Rumble, when I look at this card and I look at the Rumble match in general, I'm really not that excited about it this year. Again, and WWE's been doing this a lot lately, just a very underdeveloped, rushed card. You have Miz and Randy Orton for the WWE title, which I don't care. They could have done Miz and Morrison. I don't know why they didn't do that. Why did you rush that match to Raw? The only explanation I can think of for why they did that is that Morrison's going to win the Rumble. But I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think Morrison is going to win the Rumble, so I would be very surprised if he did. And even if he does win the Rumble, what was the point of giving him a title match before he wins the Rumble? Why not keep building him up, and building him up towards that title match at WrestleMania? Why have him lose a title match before he earns his title shot, And so Miz and Orton, I don't care. I think Miz is going to drop the title before Mania. It might not be at this pay-per-view, but I don't think he's going to go into Mania as champion. I'll get to that in a minute. Then we have Dolph Ziggler versus Edge, which I've already talked about this. And I love Dolph Ziggler to death. I love Edge to death, but this is such a rushed, horribly handled feud. And it's like, it reminds me so much of WrestleMania 18, where you had Triple H and Jericho facing each other, but you forgot that Jericho was there because the feud was centered on Stephanie McMahon. So nobody gave a shit about the champion, which that's a problem. I mean, Dolph's not the champion, but he's the number 1 contender, but nobody cares because Vicky's really the villain. And I'm sorry, Vicky Guerrero is horrible. She's horrible. She offers nothing. Now, can anybody tell me what she brings to the table outside of the fact that she gets negative crowd reactions? Because I'm telling you, as a guy who watches television, that whenever she's on TV, it makes for bad television. I don't care if the crowd boos her, okay? She can't act. She can't talk. She's not even nice to look at. She can't do anything. She's just horrible at every facet. And it makes for horrible television, and all she does is make me not want to watch the TV when she's on, and by extension, not make me want to watch Dolph Ziggler, which that's a problem, especially since Ziggler is such a great performer. I don't think Ziggler's going to win the title, but then again, I said that with Sheamus and Jack Swagger, so WWE, they're stupid enough to put an underdeveloped character in there. And again, Ziggler's a great talent, but he doesn't belong in the spot just because creative hasn't handled him that well. And this is just such a rushed feud and rushed situation that I don't care about the match. The only good thing about this match is the fact that it's going to be good. Edge and Ziggler are going to go out there and have a really good match, but when the build-up is so bad and everything is so rushed and creative has been handled so poorly, why should I give a damn, you know? That falls on WWE. It has nothing to do with the talents. It's just, you know, when you write bad shows, I'm not going to care about the matches. Just like if I'm watching a movie, great action scenes aren't going to make up for a shitty movie. Okay, I mean, trying to think of an example. Star Wars Episode 1 has some pretty cool action sequences and some great special effects for its time, but people still shit on it because the story's not that good. And yeah, and same case here. Yeah, the match is going to be good, but it doesn't make up for a shitty story. And then Natalya and Lay Cool are still feuding. What happened to the feud with Melina? I didn't watch Raw this week, so I didn't see what happened. But I know they did the Natalya Melina match, but why are we going back to this well? Again, I don't care. And then we get to the Rumble match. As far as, like I said, you know, the Rumble's going to be good because, you know, the fucking Royal Rumble. But who's going to win? Honestly, I don't see anybody else winning it besides Cena. You know, some people are picking Punk. Some people are picking Morrison. Some people are picking Del Rio, which I think he's just, you know, we were doing the show on Wrestling Epicenter this week. And Ben Benya said that he's just a red herring, and I agree. He's just a red herring. I think they're just building him up just to kind of trick us into thinking that he might win. I think it's going to be John Cena. I don't see anybody else winning this. I really don't. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I would love it if Punk or Morrison won and they built him up to a match in Mania. I would love that. Bring it on. But I don't see it happening. I mean, that's just me. Who in this Rumble has really been developed enough to the point that I honestly think they could win it? The only one I see is Cena. So, I'm picking Cena to win, and I think the main event to WrestleMania 27, and I know True Slayer did a big discussion about this. I didn't throw my 2 cents into that one because I, you know, got behind and got lazy with filming this damn thing. But, you know, if I had to pick a WrestleMania 27 main event, I think it's going to be Orton and Cena. I think that's exactly where they're going to go. I can't explain why I think that's going to happen. I just think that's what they're going to do. They're going to take their two top faces, put them against each other, and that'll be that. So Orton's going to win the title at some point, whether it be at the Rumble or at Elimination Chamber. I don't know, but it's going to happen. And that's what I think. I could be dead wrong, and I don't know why I feel that way. I just think that that's what's going to happen. And not that I would want to see it, because Orton and Cena have wrestled each other 9,000 times in 3-ways, 4-ways, Hell in a Cell, submissions, no DQ Iron Man matches. And I'll be honest, I've never liked their matches. Every single Orton and Cena match I've seen, I've just been like, lame. That submission match they had was one of the most ridiculous matches I've ever seen. It was just, so many parts of it just didn't make any sense. I mean, if he had Cena handcuffed to the corner, why would you unhandcuff him and then move him to another spot in the ring to handcuff him just to beat him up some more? It just made no sense. It was cheap attempts to make it seem like they were doing something, but they weren't really doing anything. So, I just don't like their matches, and the fact that it's happened like 100 times makes me not care. But yeah, I think that's where they're going to go. Again, I could be dead wrong. I don't know. I guess we'll find out tomorrow. But Royal Rumble, not that excited over it, even though I do love the Royal Rumble concept. But here's hoping I'm wrong and they put on a good show. I won't be watching it. I just, you know, I feel like, again, when you put on bad feuds and you underdevelop your characters and you put on lackluster storylines, I'm not going to care. I'm not going to feel inclined to spend money on your show. And I make that point a lot, and I don't feel like spending $50 on something that's underdeveloped and uninteresting to me. So, if you order the Royal Rumble, enjoy it. The road to WrestleMania begins, and stay tuned next week. My Rebook WrestleMania countdown will continue, and peace out until then.